Welcome back to Rolling with Stone. Today I'm going to show you guys how to cover acne scars and any type of dark blemishes on your face without having to use a full coverage foundation. I know that's a very common issue, having like acne scars or blemishes or any type of dark spots on your face. You want to wear foundation, you want to get that great coverage, but you don't want your foundation to look like full coverage foundation. You don't want it to look heavy or like you piled, a lot of makeup on your face. So I'll show you exactly how I get that. One tip that I'll let you guys know ahead of time is it's all about thin layers of product. So, usually you would think, you have an acne scar maybe right here, so you'll pack on the concealer or pack on the foundation to try to cover it, and you feel like, oh crap, since it's so dark, I'll never be able to wear like a sheared out or a medium coverage foundation because the acne scar is too dark. But it's all about thin layers. So we'll start off by using a color corrector to cancel out whatever darkness you may have from your scar or your blemish, and then we'll go from there. So my skin is all prepped with moisturizer and my primer. And why it's so important to moisturize and prime is because it gives you a great foundation for luminous looking skin. When you want a very natural look, you want your skin to look very healthy. And usually dry or dull skin doesn't look as healthy, so it helps you to get a more natural look. There are other uses for moisturizer and primer, of course, to make sure your skin is hydrated and get a smooth finish, but at the same time it helps you to get a more natural look also. So I've already moisturized and primed, and I'm going to go in with the Peach Color Corrector, which is Peach Lustre by MAC. And I'm only going to apply this product where I need it. You see I have several acne scars throughout my forehead, a little bit on my cheeks. I have more here. The lighting that I have is really drowning it out because it looks a lot darker in person than what it's showing up on camera. But as you can tell, I have nowhere near perfect skin. So by doing thin layers of these products, I'm still able to get a very clean, natural look. So I'll go in with Peach Lustre, and I will apply this to cancel out any darkness. That way I don't have to pile on concealer. And I just put it on each one of my acne scars. Now, depending on what foundation you use, some of your acne blemishes, you'll know as you go. You won't have to color correct because your foundation will be enough to cover it. But since I'm using a medium coverage foundation, I'm going to go ahead and spot correct as much as I can. And then I usually go around the corners of my mouth where it's darker. And what I'm doing is just going in and kind of fading out the edges. That way when I layer on more products, everything is smooth. You don't want to just have like a patch of product and then you put on maybe your foundation or your next product and you see that mark because it wasn't blended. So you want to kind of soften the edges of it, but at the same time you want to make sure that you're not wiping away the product. Next, I'm going to take LA Girl's Pro Concealer in the color Toffee, which is the closest color to my skin tone. So you want to get whatever concealer of your choice and get as close as your skin tone as you can get. And then go ahead and go over that color corrector. Now remember, thin layers of product, so you only need a very little. Because we've canceled out the darkness already, you only need a tiny bit of concealer. And the concealer is just used to make everything even as far as the skin color. Usually what I do at this point is get either a damp beauty blender just to buff out the edges of it, or I'll use my finger to buff out the edges of the concealer. So whichever one is more convenient for you, you can go for it. Just remember, you want to kind of like tap in the edges of it. You don't want to like wipe it away or use a dense brush to take away from the product. So now you can see it's already taken shape. The color's starting to blend in, and pretty much you're not seeing any more of the acne scarring that you were seeing before. Now you see how thin layers of product works. So once the concealer is blended in, all I have to do is use a very sheer veil of foundation, and it doesn't even have to be full coverage. What I'm going to use is a medium coverage. It's like a sheer to medium coverage, which is the MAC Mineralize Liquid Foundation. That brushes are important. The more dense and stiff your brush is, the more product it's going to apply to your face. So whenever I go in to do my foundation, I'm just going to use a damp beauty blender because it usually applies minimal product with a beauty blender, and just stipple the foundation all over. Look at that. Looks like I have good skin. Now these peach color correctors, different brands have them. I just prefer the MAC one. Everybody might not necessarily use peach. You might need a lighter pink color, or a light peach color, or a deeper, more orange color, depending on your skin tone. So you guys are going to have to do a little bit of research on which one that you need. More than likely, I'll do a video sometime soon about the color correctors and the difference between the tones of your peaches or what have you. So depending on, you know, what you're trying to cancel out, that's what corresponding color corrector you're going to have to use. You can already see, and this is not even any foundation on yet, and you can already see, you know, it's taken shape. My skin looks clear, it looks radiant, it looks very natural, nothing too heavy, still really lightweight with the color corrector and the concealer. So I'm just going to go in with my Mineralized Liquid Foundation by MAC. I'm going to use a damp beauty blender just to ensure that I get, you know, that sheer layer of foundation. Sometimes when you use a denser or more stiffer brush, you kind of get a little bit more coverage than what you need for a very natural look. It's all about adding product where you need it. So definitely feel free to go in and then like spot correct after your foundation if you feel like, you know, you need to touch up one or two spots where you can still see the blemish. So I feel like that's okay. It gave me the coverage that I needed without anything extra. Anything extra can be soaked up, like say if you want it a little bit more matte, like before you put your powder on, and a more smooth finish to ensure that you don't have on too much product. If you just take like a tissue, just a regular tissue, and just sort of blot, you're almost like pressing the foundation into your skin, and then it's taking away any excess foundation that you didn't necessarily need. You see that residue, how it's not taking away from your coverage, it's sort of pressing into your skin, and any extra foundation that might be sitting on top or adding shine, it will take that away. So that's it. A very natural, clean finish, nothing heavy at all, but still covers what you need it to cover. So from here you can do your regular contour and highlight routine after this, or if you wanted to finish off with like a setting powder or something like that. Now keep in mind the setting powders you use make a big difference on the finish of your makeup too. powders aren't like one size fits all type of thing. There are some powders out there that are very sheer. There are some powders that are very pigmented that gives you like a lot of coverage. So keep in mind that that plays a big role in, you know, the finish of how your makeup looks at the very end. Today what I'm going to use to set my face is going to be Revlon's Nearly Naked powder. It's a very sheer powder. It gives you a very natural finish, but still a really pretty finish. I know some setting powders give you like a dull finish when it's, sometimes when it's sheared out, it's just like a dull finish. But the Nearly Naked gives you a great, you know, radiant color payoff, but still being sheer at the same time. And if you notice, you guys, I'm using a big fluffy brush to apply this powder. Once again, when you're using more dense, stiff brushes, it applies a lot more product. So keep that in mind. So from there, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go and do a little bit of highlighting and add my blush and get my eyes done, and I'll come back and show you guys the final look. So this is the final look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave them below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me.